Good morning everybody, Mel Soul here on Monday the 2nd of October 2017, and the start of business today, I must say my heart and my sympathies go out to every single person that was involved in the Las Vegas shooting. I hope that all of those families that have been injured recover. I hope that all of those that lost loved ones, find strength to survive through this. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is too much hate in this world. And please, love your neighbor, and all of us will be a whole lot happier. The golf last week, we had the President's Cup. Very disappointing. I did say last week that on paper it was going to be a rout, and it certainly was. I can see already people yelling for changes and format changes, and personally, I'm not sure about that. Robert Damron on the Golf Channel this morning said it would be insulting to the international team if they said, well, we're going to need a change and we're going to help you win. Robert, you might not be old enough for this, but that's exactly what happened to the Ryder Cup. The Americans won the Ryder Cup over and over and over, and it was getting boring, and Jack Nicklaus and Seve Ballesteros got together and said, we need to change this. We need to make the Americans, give them better opposition. And Seve and his Europeans came along, and the Ryder Cup is now stronger than it's ever been before. Now, with the international, there's nowhere else to go. We can't get anybody else unless we ask the LPGA. So I don't think a format change is necessary. I think it's just part of the tide. The Americans, all of them, came into this President's Cup in great form. And the international team, all of them, Hideki Matsuyama, number 2 in the world, he was struggling. Jason Day was struggling. The South Africans, who have been the mainstay of this President's Cup, were all struggling. So I think it's just, you get these waves, and the Americans came in strong, the internationals came in weak. I don't think it needs a change. I do think it might help, when the Americans were getting beaten in the Ryder Cup, they got this task force together and then went out and won the next Ryder Cup. Maybe we need something like that. Maybe we need a task force to rethink not the format, but the way the international team gels together. I don't think they're as well gelled as a team. And when you think back to the era where the Americans were losing the Ryder Cup, there was the same thought thrown out, was the Americans were not working as a team. Paul Azinger was the first one to get the pod system and get everybody working. So maybe something like that, but I think in years to come, and next year is the President's Cup at Royal Melbourne in Australia, and I think a change of captain is needed. Nick Price has now been the captain for 3 consecutive terms. I think it needs to be handed over, and I think Jeff Ogilvy would be the perfect person. Being an Australian in Australia, I think he'd get a lot of support from the players and from the public. One of my favorite European Tour events took place this weekend, the British Masters. When I was growing up, that was one of the mainstay tournaments on the European Tour. They lost it for a number of years, found a sponsor. Sky Sports now sponsors that British Masters. And Phil Dunne, who came to fame a couple of years ago in the British Open and led as an amateur after 3 rounds, he had his first European Tour victory. After 2 rounds, Rory McIlroy and Phil Dunne were tied. Rory McIlroy over the weekend went out and shot 64-63. Sorry, the other way around, 63, 64. Fantastic golf, but still lost by 3. Phil Dunne went out and shot a 61 in the final round and came to the last hole needing a bogey to win. It's a par 3, missed the green to the right, and one of the commentators, my good friend Dale Hayes, was commentating, and he was like, oh, it's, he missed it on the right, and it's a bad place to miss it. And Phil Dunne walked up and chipped it right in the hole. Said, thank you very much, congratulations to Phil. A shout out to the player who finished 3rd, Robert Carlson. Robert Carlson is 48 years old and finished 3rd in this tournament. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with in another couple of years on the PGA Champions. The LPGA was in New Zealand for the New Zealand Ladies Open, and Brooke Henderson won by 4, going away from Jin Yang from China. She finished 2nd, but congratulations to Brooke. She won going away, and there was not much competition there at the end. Next week is one of my favorites as well on the European Tour, the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. It's played over 3 courses. It's played over the Old Course at St Andrews, Kingsbarns and Carnoustie. And I enjoy those courses, and I've played all of those courses, so it's fun for me to watch. I love links golf, so watch that tournament. I think it's going to be exciting. And then the PGA Tour has the Safeway Open, which I think is the start of the 2017-18 season. So thanks very much for watching. Tomorrow is Troubleshot Tuesday. We're going to come up with something interesting for you, but on Wednesday we have Rules and Etiquette Wednesday. I'm going to discuss the rule that Jordan Spieth ended up getting disqualified during the match play at the President's Cup. He got disqualified on a hole for something very simple that he did. No ill intent intended. He thought he was doing the right thing and he got disqualified. I want to make sure you understand that rule. Stay tuned.